Amy Khan here for Seconds Out with Jack Massey. Jack, a lot of banter going on in the gym. How you doing?
I'm all good, mate. Yeah, all good. Just I think we might have a fight date. We can't say anything yet about the dates, but I think we've got a fight date soon, which is great. You know, we've had a had a year out of the ring, so it's been stressful at times, and just been training constantly. You might be fighting this, you might be fighting then, and hopefully we've got something.
Yeah, I know obviously you can't give too much detail away, but what can you say in terms of the opportunity that's in front of you and in terms of you getting back into title contention and further?
Yeah, so it's going to be a comeback fight, obviously. The last fight was over in Saudi Arabia against Jai Patea, challenging for the IBF and the Ring Magazine. So it's going to be an 8-rounder comeback fight, get back in there, and then we're looking to challenge for something after that, you know, some sort of title. So, we just need to get back in there, blow the cobwebs off, and then look for another big fight.
With those big fights, I was just looking at the schedule. It seems like Cruiserweight, just a couple of things have happened, but it needs a bit of movement going on.
Yeah, it needs a bit of a shake-up. It needs a bit of a shake-up in a minute. Obviously, Ramirez, he's
just picking that back up there, technical issues. But we were saying that the Cruiserweight division just needs a bit of that shake-up.
Yeah, like I was saying, I was looking forward to Ramirez and Patea being made. Cracking fight. I personally think Patea would come on top, but I think he's frustrated. He's struggling for the fights, and he's just fighting anyone who he can get his hands on, and just needs a bit of a shake-up. Bill and Smith still on our radar, and there's just needs these fights to happen and shake it up a little bit. So we'll see what comes in the next sort of few months.
Last, when I spoke to yourself, that Bill and Smith fight is something that you want, but the gut feeling is that the other side don't seem to want to entertain any movement on that point.
No, there was talks. I was listening to an interview with Jai, and he's the champion, and he was trying to get that fight, and Bill and Smith wants £1 million and this and that. I think they're just chasing a payday, and I don't think he's worth that now. He's got the now he's lost his title, so. But yeah, we'll see what happens. But we just got to get in there and fight whoever's put in front of us.
What do you think about that? The current state of play with Cruiserweight, because if the lay of the land is that Zurdo and Opetaia will fight, but Zurdo is currently injured, you got to wait for that injury to heal. Then he comes back, maybe to come back fight, or the Opetaia fight. Those two then fight. There's an undisputed. Then the potential that either that person stays at the weight or they move up or whatever it might be, if it's Jai, if it's Zurdo.
Yeah.
So in terms of you getting a title opportunity, how far away do you think that might be?
I don't know. Everyone's saying Jai needs to move up, this and that. I think he needs to take his time. I don't think you can rush these things. He's not a massive cruiserweight. He's got the skill set, he's got the power, and he's got the ability. He's got the experience, but I just think he needs to do more at cruiserweight and then sort of build into it. I think I think possibly move up to bridgerweight and have a little taste of there, and then build your way up. Them big guys. It's not just about getting in there and punching. It's the push you about and move you about. You've got to have that strong body as well. So I think he needs a little bit more time to put a little bit more weight on, get a bit stronger, and. Bit too soon for that.
There is actually a huge fight happening, we think, at Cruiserweight. Are you aware of it?
I'm not sure. You tell me.
Jake Paul, Gervonta Davis.
So you taking a mic? No, I wasn't aware of that. Well, yeah, I am aware of that. Yeah, but I thought it just fizzled out, to be honest. So I'm not
No. So the latest state of play was that Atlanta said they didn't want to do it, so they've now moved it to Miami.
Oh right, okay. Yeah, it's madness.
Gervonta Davis at Cruiserweight, what's that going to look like?
Yeah, I just think he's when guys do this, I think they're selling themselves out a little bit. I know money talks, but is he not earning enough money in the boxing game? It's like it's a bit greedy in my eyes, and it's showing boxing up a little bit. You've always got to think, when you put these sort of Jake Pauls in the limelight, you've always got to think about the smaller guys who are grinding in the gym, try to make their way, try to clutch at straws and try to, work jobs to get where they want to be and get sponsors and, they're working every day just to try and get up to, a certain level. You've got to think of them guys, and, someone like Jake Paul just comes along just because he's famous and just gets put in the rankings and gets big fights in the boxing game. It's not right, and the boxing board shouldn't allow it.
Quite just popped in my head. I thought it might be of interest of you. He came back. It was supposed to be his retirement fight, but I think he's going to continue. He looked decent in it. Sergei Kovalev, you on your radar?
Say that again, sorry.
Sergei Kovalev.
Yeah. So that's definitely that'll be an exciting fight. But like I say, whoever's there, it's we're going to take it. So.
Joe Parker, he's in against Fabio Wardley. Obviously, you shared the ring with Joe. How do you think he fares against Fabio?
Yeah, tasty fight. It's not a walk in the park for Joe. Fabio is very fast-handed, explosive fighter, and he's not a massive heavyweight. He's not he's not sluggish at all. He can move, he can box. So I think it's going to be a tough night for Parker. But I think Parker, with his momentum, and he's just been beating everyone and building. I think with that momentum, I think he'll come on top.
When you say a tough night potentially with Parker, that's interesting because a lot of the rhetoric in terms of the narrative of the fight is that it's Joe's to lose and Fabio's got a puncher's chance, maybe a little bit more than that. I don't want to be disrespectful to him, but I'm just relaying the narrative of the fight. Yeah. What are the troubles that Fabio's going to cause to Joe?
I just think with his movement, with his explosiveness and his movement, not flat-footed like a big heavyweight, just in and out and on his feet. I think that'll upset him a little bit. So it's not a walk in the park for Joe, like a lot of people are saying. I think he can cause him trouble at times. So I think it's going to be a close fight, but I expect Parker to come out on top.
Do you rate Fabio's power in terms of the higher level of the sport?
Definitely, yeah. He's a heavyweight and they can all bang, but he's got that explosive power as well, like I just said, and that speed, and that can catch some of these heavyweights off guard.
In terms of the highest level of sport, Terence Crawford defeated Canelo Alvarez in last weekend. Did you watch the fight? I'm sure you did. No way.
No, I've not caught it back yet. Yeah, there's no way I was getting up at that time with a 2-year-old, mate. It's it's not happening. But yeah, I need to watch it back. I've just been busy. Obviously, we were talking about doing the house. I'm just doing the house up in a minute, and it's just to get home from training, picking a paintbrush up, and looking after the little, and it's just been non-stop. But I'm going to find some time to watch it, and what I have seen of the clips. I've watched a lot of clips of it, and it looked like Crawford just had an answer to everything Canelo was throwing at him. He was just countering straight away, waiting for Canelo backhand, just countering off the backhand all the time, and then he just didn't have an answer for him. Canelo just looked frustrated from what I've seen in there, and looking back at his corner, shaking his head. So yeah, I just think he got outclassed and outskilled and outboxed, and it's nice to see a new man on top. Even though I love watching Canelo, I like him. I've always liked him. He's a great guy in the sport, and it's nice to see a new guy on top.
You got Netflix?
I have got Netflix. Yeah.
You got to get to it. Is Crawford your pound for pound number one off the back of that win?
I think so. Yeah. Personally, yeah. From who he's beat. I think that's sealed the deal there with beating Canelo. Absolutely.
Very last thing, I've been asking everyone at the gym here, of course, we're in the heart of Manchester, and the news has kind of rocked boxing fans and wider the public. Obviously, Ricky Hatton was held dear to the heart of people here and wider. He's now no longer with us. Just some words on the legend that Ricky leaves in his wake. Yeah,
it was really, really sad news. I found out on Sunday. I was out for a walk, and my brother rang me, and he's like, "Have you heard your news?" And I was like, "No, I've not been on my phone. I've just been on a walk for a couple of hours with the family." And it took a couple of days to sink in. It was one of them. It didn't feel real, and it's so sad. To lose an amazing guy, an amazing guy in the sport. What he's done for British boxing and world boxing, it's unbelievable. And Ricky was sort of like my era. I'm 32. I grew up watching Ricky and looking up to them fighters at that time. And what a guy. He sort of probably was one of the main reasons why I got into boxing. And what a guy, and what he's done for the sport. It's absolutely amazing. But it's so sad. I just feel for the family, and everything else. But yeah, it's we've lost a good one.
You must have met him a few times. What was that like being around his company?
Yeah, Ricky was always, he always had advice for you, and he always made you laugh. And I was lucky enough for Ricky to walk me out when I fought for the IBO world title in Bolton, and he's just a guy. He was just a normal guy, and anyone could talk to him, and just a guy like you and me. You can just talk to anyone and get on with anyone. But yeah, it's very sad news.
Josh said to me that the piece of advice that Ricky gave to him that he kept along with him was he has bad hands, but Ricky said just go for it. You're a boxer, you've got to kind of get those gloves on and go for it.
Gloves and, he'd give you little tips when you'd be sparring down at his gym, or he'd come over and watch you sparring or whatever, and just give you little tips about movement and moving the body and moving your opponent and stuff like that, and getting into inside work. I always liked his inside work when he was boxing. He'd just give you little tips on your movement and moving around in a semicircle and stuff like that. And he's very, very sad news, and thoughts to the family.
Last thing on it, what was your favourite fight of Ricky's?
Do you know what? I think my favourite fight it was probably one of the first big fights I ever saw. It was I always forget his name. It was at the Etihad. It was when they had to cut Paulie Malignaggi's hair off when he had dreadlocks. I can't remember his. Yeah, they cut his hair off on the same night. Is that what his name was? I can't remember his name. Yeah, that was like one of the first big fights I went to see him with my dad at the Etihad. So what was that, Kurt? What year was that? 2008, 9? I would have been 15, 16, but yeah, that was probably one of my favourites because I went to watch it live.
Jack, appreciate your time. Look forward to seeing you back in the ring. Thanks for speaking to us out.